Welcome, everyone. I hope that you all can hear us and see us. On behalf of SMARTMED and Best Med project coordinators, we wish you a very full day of wonderful learning. Welcome from the beautiful Croatia. I'm sure it will be a great day spent with more than 150 experts all over the world. We have today Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, France, Greece, Italy, Malta, Montenegro, Portugal, Slovenia, and Spain, and any other country that you have connected through from the SMARTMED and BestMed online seminar. The title of the seminars is Perspectives on the New Models of Governance for the Sustainable Tourism in Mediterranean. So welcome once again. We have prepared two sessions for you today. First presentation will be the preliminary results of SMARTMED and BestMed projects. And the second session will be a roundtable debating focusing on the process of transferring and capitalizing those results. We're going to hear from our key experts from our projects, partners, and from their country. We have prepared a few fun things for you. Also, if you go to our platform, you have a list of all the countries that you can click on and find some fun facts and interesting things on them. For now, at the beginning, I would like to give the floor to the Minister of Tourism and Sport of Republic of Croatia, Ms. Nikolina Brnjac, to welcome you all to this seminar.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants of the first SMARTMED Best Med joint seminar, it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the Croatian Ministry of Tourism and Sport. Although this is an online seminar and unfortunately you cannot be here with us and enjoy the beauty of our country, we are very proud to host such an important event. As partners within SMARTMED and BestMed, we are dealing with similar challenges. There is a long tradition of tourism in the Mediterranean area. It is the most visited tourist destination in the world, according to the World Tourism Organization. While problems like over-tourism seem local, a number of destinations in the Mediterranean area share them. Therefore, it is our priority to better look after the assets on which tourism depends and provide smarter solutions. Together with common territorial features and similar socio-economic patterns of the Mediterranean, these issues present themselves as an opportunity for joint action. Challenges faced by the tourism sector require an integrated, forward-looking approach to policy formulation and implementation. This is why we all have big expectations from SMARTMED and BestMed projects. There is knowledge and experience among stakeholders in the region that can be shared, transferred, and expanded to create a new vision for the Mediterranean region in the future. It is an opportunity to develop and learn together as a region and together with our tourists improve the attractiveness and well-being of the Mediterranean communities, not only as destination to visit, but also to live, work and invest. The topic of today's meeting connects us all in one vision, smart tourism for Croatia, but also for the countries in the Mediterranean that can work together to create more attractive, smart and inclusive destinations. We are looking forward to new smart tourism business model to be developed and to be opened through these two projects. I wish you all a successful and productive exchange of ideas and knowledge today. I would also like to use this opportunity to invite you to spend your holidays and your weekends together with your family and friends in Croatia, to experience its beauty in first hand. Thank you.
Hello to everyone. I'm glad to be here today with you and to give you a short speech. Unfortunately, our project manager and coordinator, Mrs. Natalia Havidic, couldn't be today with us, so I will try to replace her. Well, our ambition with the SMARTMED strategic project is to influence relevant policies with concrete actions and examples, contributing significantly in the long-term perspective to the progress of the raised common issues, not only within the partnership of the project, but also throughout the Med area and even the European Union. Results of the project, in coordination with Panoramed Governance Platform project, thematic communities, and the horizontal project of the same theme, should feed the debate for the next programming period and to become a reference for national and regional programs working on the same subject. As defined by the European Commission, the four cornerstones of smart tourism are accessibility, sustainability, digitalization, and cultural heritage, and creativity. When we were developing this project 2 years ago in 2019, we were in the process of drafting National Development Strategy of Republic of Croatia for the next decade, which will influence all other strategic documents in the tourism sector. Therefore, we thought it would be a perfect fit to explore the concept of smart tourism and the best ways and tools to implement it in the Mediterranean countries. As a first step within the SmartMed project, we defined smart tourism using four key pillars: sustainability, cooperation and participation, human capital, and technologies and IT. The most important output of the SmartMed project is smart tourism business model for the Med area, taking into account common needs of the region for sustainable tourism development. The model is wide-reaching and more of a strategic framework in order to cover all identified areas of influence. Model will also be calibrated to fit the needs of partner countries and tested throughout innovative pilot initiatives for reusable results that will be mainstreamed through e-learning platform and hopefully later built into national and EU policies. We hope that all partners will be able to implement the model throughout their national and regional policies, since in further development of the model, we will take into consideration the scalability and transferability of the model throughout the Med region. We also have to address the current situation with the COVID-19 pandemic and its current and future influence on strategic thinking in tourism. SmartMed project began its implementation before the pandemic of COVID-19, while the development of smart tourism business model was intertwined with the pandemic's progress and repercussions. Tourism is one of the sectors most affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Out of 13 member states most dependent on tourism, 7 are involved in the SmartMed project. Given this context and the repercussions of the COVID-19 crisis on the tourism sector and beyond, researching into the characteristics and understanding of smart tourism in the Mediterranean is of a crucial importance. Current crisis was understood as an opportunity for all of us to make tourism resilient and Mediterranean as a leader on sustainability and transformation of EU tourism and destination management. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ksenia. Thank you very much. To continue, next to SmartMed and Best Med is working strongly to empower Mediterranean governance, fighting against seasonality and the lack of effective cooperation amongst main tourism actors, including the citizens' active participation on the policy design. But what it is really about is here to be explained by Ms. Julia Saiz Pardo, Best Med Project Coordinator from the Andalusian Public Foundation, Regional Government of Andalusia. Ms. Julia?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this joint seminar, which is an important milestone in the development of Best Med and SmartMed projects. First, I would like to thank our colleagues of SmartMed project and our partner, CPMR, responsible of the Work Package 6 capitalizing of Best Med project, for this well-organized seminar with a multi-level program that will address key topics related to the preliminary results of both projects and the transfer and capitalizing processes, a priority topic for our project. Moreover, I would also like to thank all the speakers and participants for the involvement during the preparation of this seminar. Best Med is a strategic and governance project part of the Interreg Med program, as well under the umbrella of Panoramed, which is an ongoing evidence-based platform with the specific objective of supporting the process of strengthening and developing multilateral coordination frameworks in the Mediterranean for joint responses to common challenges. We work also together with the horizontal projects and the Med Sustainable Community. We are a partnership from Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, Greece, Slovenia, Croatia, and Montenegro, primarily addressing challenges like seasonality, insufficient cooperation between main tourism actors, the improvement of sustainability of tourism activities in the Med area, and the empowerment of the actors of the tourism value chain, including policy makers. The core of Best Med project is green planning with a focus on cultural roots based on the outputs produced by other projects on relevant tourism data indicators like Mitomed Plus or Co-Evolve. In this sense, the main task of Best Med project is to produce a proposal for a model for a Med sustainable and cultural route that incorporates sustainability principles in its planning and management. The aim is that through a system of monitoring and indicators, the routes managers, together with the regional policy makers, can make evidence-based decisions to manage the routes and the social, economic, and environmental impacts. The objective of this sustainable and cultural path model is to achieve integrated planning and management of cultural routes and other physical or thematic paths in Mediterranean destinations by following sustainability principles. Therefore, the aim of the model, besides monitoring sustainability, is to contribute to better governance of routes and paths, achieving higher levels of cooperation between regional authorities, the managers of the routes, and other key stakeholders. This joint model and the integrated approach will be further promoted by the network of national and regional tourism observatories to be created. These observatories are specialized in sustainability mainly. This should be intended as a strategic tool to support expert planning, more informed decision-making, and significantly improve multi-level coordination for sustainable tourism in the Mediterranean, something crucial in this moment that we have in sustainable and cultural tourism in times of after COVID recovery. In short, this seminar is an opportunity to take advantage of this coordination of complementarities and synergies for the benefit of the overall sustainable tourism governance in the Mediterranean. Good work to all, and thank you for your attention. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Julia. Thank you very much. Next, we would like to present the SMARTMED and Best Med projects are funded by Interreg Med programs. It's my great pleasure to welcome Francesca Marcato, the Best Med project officer, and Nicolas Garnier, SMARTMED project officer from Interreg program Joint Secretariat.
Good morning, everyone. We are really happy to be here with you. As Joint Secretariat, we are really glad about this cooperation among the two strategic projects working on the same topic, but also the coordination with the Sustainable Tourism Thematic Community and with PanoramaMed. It's really an example also for other strategic projects within the Interreg Med program. We would like also to stress the importance to reinforce the coordination with the external key stakeholders, mainly now that it's a period of transition, period of drafting of programs. It's really important that your results and recommendation will feed orientations and strategies for the future. Also for initiatives that are working in the same, on the same topic in the Mediterranean area. And another final message will be take always in mind that your main objective will be not only, of course, development of this type of solution, but final adoption by main target groups that you have identified. So keep always in mind this uptake at scale of your results. Really, thank you again for your involvement. I give the floor to my colleague Nicola for transmitting other key messages. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca, and good morning to everyone, and thank you to both lead partner teams for organizing this event and making it happen, really, because this is what we had in mind when we started with the strategic projects such as SmartMed and Best Med. And it's really important that you continue working in this complementarity between the two projects, and keep the work on identifying common actions that that can be developed together as Best Med and SmartMed, because as you know, you are in the process of now implementing your projects by developing these common approaches, or with some actions that can be capitalized together. So in order to avoid any overlap that you might find between the two projects, it's really important that you keep this common approach in complementarity. And it's also even more important considering that in the new programming period that is starting this year for the InterregMed program, we are now opening a new period of 6-7 years of new opportunities for projects, and tourism will really be central in this new program, and even more so than now, as we have chosen to focus on tourism as a cross-cutting mission for the Mediterranean. So with the ambition from SmartMed and BestMed, as both strategic projects can now pave the way for new initiatives, which can be then funded in the new programming period to be transferred and adopted directly by transferring these models that you are developing in both projects. So thank you very much, and we wish you both a great meeting, and we are really glad to support you in both of your projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Francesca and Nicolas. From BestMed, I would like to present Erika Peroni, a technical area expert from Lazio region, and Maria Laura Gasperini, research fellow, Center for Advanced Studies in Tourism, and Maja Turšek, associate professor at University of Maribor, who will present some general presentation of methodologies developed with a focus on model MED, sustainable path and cultural roots model, and the future of network sustainable tourism observatories. Here you go.
Morning. Yes, I'm sharing my screen. I'm Erika Peroni from Lazio region, and yes, we have been coordinating the studying work package for BestMed project. Oops, sorry, but I have technical problems because it's.
We can see your screen.
Yes, but I don't know why it's not going on the presentations. Let's try like this. Okay, that should be good. Yes, so this studying work package will be followed by the testing on 8 pilot areas, transferring and capitalizing phases. The main objective of our work package was to create a framework of knowledge for the two main aims of this project. On one hand, working on data collection and management and strengthen the network of observatories, of tourist observatories. And on the other hand, develop a governance model for internal areas and cultural routes based on the MitoMed model for beaches and for coastal areas.
Sorry, Erika.
Yes?
We still see the first slide. They are not going.
You cannot.
Yeah.
No.
You cannot see the other slides?
No.
It's not
That's
yet
the first one, Erika.
Try clicking on the side right next where the numbers are, 1, 2, 3. Try choosing a slide there.
Oh, yes. Then I can do like this.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
It's
right.
better.
Thank you. Thank you,
Sorry,
Erika.
I don't know how. We also tried it before, but well, it's a bit smaller, but better than nothing. Well, these schemes shows how these two main objectives have the aim on one hand of giving an answer to the goals set by the terms of reference of the strategic project. So on one hand, working on competitiveness, better planning and cooperation and empowerment of policymakers. So working on data collection and management and on tourism observatories. And on the other hand, working on a better attractiveness, sustainability, creating new offers through innovation, and working on seasonality. So creating alternative offers to seaside and summer holidays. So through applying the MitoMed, the Green Beach model to internal areas and paths, we will arrive to a model which should be transferred as the results of the work on the observatories network in final conference of the project in a charter on sustainable tourism, which will be a means to reach, on one hand, an agreement on a med tourism network of observatories, and on the other hand, as also Francesca Marconcini was suggesting, to create a basis for mainstreaming of sustainable tourism in strategies, European strategies for the future. So, well, the main outputs of our project were these two studies we have produced. On one hand, the state of art on the actual data collection and management systems, working mainly on official statistics, on this very important and new and in evolution subject, which is big data, and on sustainable tourism indicators. And on the other hand, we worked on analyzing the most important and significant experiences, tools, and best practice on data collection and management, analyzing the main projects from Interreg Med and any CBC Med programs and others. And it's important to say that we extended the study also to the all Mediterranean countries, also those to the, in the southern shore of the Mediterranean. The tools, we started creating these tools. We realized a thematic data collection system for big data sets, a stakeholders database listing the institutions, the main institutions working on data to be involved in the network, and this Best Med open platform that will be described by our Slovenian partner, a tool linked to the MitoMed Plus tool built up for coastal areas for data gathering and analysis in our case in internal areas. Important point of this milestone of the project was the technical workshop we held at the beginning of December, organized by Lazio region, in which we started sharing and discussing subjects of our project with experts from other projects and from tourism observatories. We presented a first draft of the MED S&C path model, and in collaboration with the CPMR, we presented a first proposal for the MED network. And lastly, the model, which we started building during the study phase to help policymakers monitor impacts of tourism on the internal destinations interested by paths and cultural routes, and that we fine-tune sharing it through 2 policy learning seminars held in each partner's pilot area to fine-tune this model, which will be tested in the work package 4. Well, now Maria Laura Gasparini from CAST will describe in detail this model. Thank you very much, and sorry for the technical problems.
Thank you, Erika.
Yes.
I will try to share my screen. Hopefully it works for me. Let me know if you can see it. I will try to put it in presentation mode. Is it okay like this?
Yes, it's okay. We can see it. Yes.
Perfect. Great. So thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I will just focus on the model and go straight to explain how we have developed it and the tools we are included in the model. So first of all, so we call the model the MED S&C path model, so standard for Sustainable Path and Cultural Route model. And we understand a cultural route and sustainable path as a cultural route that incorporates sustainability principles in its planning and management. And when we talk about cultural route and path, we are not only referring to the route certified by the Council of Europe, but to all kinds of path itineraries or routes. The idea is to achieve sustainable development of sociocultural, economic activities, at the same time protecting the natural resources, and by monitoring sustainability, route managers and regional policymakers, as well as other key stakeholders, are able to take evidence-based decisions to manage the route under different positive and negative impacts. The model tries to respond to very concrete needs of monitoring social and economic impacts of cultural route that it seems to be lacking. And this is just some quotation from several reports that we have consulted. For instance, that most routes are not actually gathering the data needed to measure the economic impact of their activities, but not only economic, but also the social and environmental impact. Another issue is regarding the level of data collection. So if we want to provide information that is relevant for taking decisions, we need to try to go to a lower level to collect this data. And then issues related to the lack of resources, the lack of technical expertise to perform monitoring of sustainability, the issues with governance and lack of coordination and dialogue between different institutions. So all these needs we're trying to tackle with the model. There are different types of cultural routes and paths, so they can be linear path, like for instance the Camino de Santiago or Via Francigena, which had been developed actually in a physical road. But routes can also have a territorial pattern, and this could be the case of a Legado Andalusí route, where we have a territory or a region that shares a common heritage. And another type of routes are the so-called virtual networks, because there are geographically separated cities, but that are sharing a common heritage. So we try to cater to all different types of routes with our model. However, since we are in the moment to test the model that we have developed theoretically for the moment, we have set two key requirements for the 8 pilot areas. So the first requirement is that the route, the path, has some kind of management structure that is managing the activities of the route, or at least a good network of stakeholders with whom we can interact. And the second requirement is to test the model in a short linear stretch. So even if the route is a network or a territorial route, to choose a short linear stretch in order to test the model. So the objective of the models are two, and this has been already introduced by Julia and Erika before. So on the one hand, achieve integrated planning and management of cultural routes and paths by following sustainability principles. And we will see in a moment the set of criteria and indicators we are developing. And on the other hand, thanks to monitoring sustainability, allow for a better cooperation between local and regional stakeholders while implementing the model. The target audience of the model are mainly two that we have defined. So we have the cultural routes and path managers, so the association, the institution that is in charge of managing the activities of these itinerary paths, of somehow responsible, and also the regional policymakers, because we think, well, to comply with the requirements and the criteria of the model, not all the information is in the hands of cultural routes and path managers, but also for this purpose of achieving better territorial governance, it's important that they can work together. Just to briefly explain you the methodology we have used to define the model. Of course, we haven't started from scratch, and as was mentioned before, we have built from different projects and different models that have been developed and that have worked well in the past. Many Interreg Med projects such as MitoMed Plus and its Green Beach model, but also Co-Evolve, DestiMed, and some others, as well as European initiatives like EGIS, the European Indicator System, Green Destinations, the Global Sustainable Tourism Criteria, etc. But since our target is very specific, because we are trying to provide a model for cultural routes and itineraries, it has its challenges. It's not the same as just for one destination. We have analyzed a number of cultural routes projects and reports and different studies. We have done a comparative analysis. We have taken what could be useful for our model, and we have designed the model. So as you can see in this graph, the first thing that we have done is define the model and selected a set of sustainability criteria and a set of core indicators. And the second thing that we have created, and it's still a work in progress, is the toolbox with all the tools to implement the model that we will see very briefly in a minute. So regarding the criteria that we have selected for the MED sustainable path and cultural roots, we have divided it in 4 main areas. So starting by sustainable management. So in total are 37 criteria. The larger number of criteria is on this section, and sustainable management in this case, where we mean everything that has to do with the management of the routes. So if there is a management structure, which stakeholders are involved, you can see on this picture, small, but you can have an idea of the kind of criteria we have included for this category. Everything that has to do with infrastructure, condition, visitor management, health and safety, and so on. And then we have the 3 main dimensions of sustainability. So economic sustainability, everything related with visitor flows, expenditure, employment, tackling seasonality, etc. Then socio-cultural sustainability with the protection of cultural heritage, accessibility, gender equality, and the involvement of local stakeholders. And finally, environmental sustainability, where we tackle well, the use of resources, protected areas, the existence of soft mobility strategy, etc. Just to briefly introduce you the tools, and I just mentioned that we have the first tool is the self-assessment audit sheet that it actually looks very similar to the one we're seeing in this picture. So for the moment is an Excel sheet that allows for a first qualitative evaluation. So you can, by the cultural route path managers together with regional policymakers, by filling out the self-assessment, they can have a first idea on the percentage of compliance with the criteria. But then we have a set of indicators on the online platform that will be introduced in a minute, where they can actually see the exact level of compliance with criteria and also perform a benchmarking. Then we also include in the toolbox the visitor questionnaires, and this has 2 purposes. So to define the profile of the tourists that are interested in this kind of cultural routes and paths, but also to measure their level of satisfaction. And finally, we intend also to include a set of best practices and recommendations. Just to conclude, the step-by-step methodology that we have defined and that we are included in the toolbox is a 5-step methodology. This is very important in order to ensure that the results or the results from the indicators and criteria is actually going to be used to better manage tourism. So we have a very general, for the moment, framework with step 1, establishing a working group that, as we said before, we have the 2 main targets, which are regional policymakers and the managers of cultural routes, plus other key local stakeholders. And this group will be in charge of implementing the model. Then we have step 2, understanding the current sustainability level, and this will be possible thanks to using the self-assessment audit sheet that we have just seen. Then step 3, addressing the gap using the tools provided in the toolbox, and the indicators, the platform. And this will be the moment also to divide the responsibility for data collection, because of course, the information is not in the hands of just one stakeholder. Step 4, analyzing the data, and this is the moment also to discuss priorities, issues, and establish an action plan. And then, of course, as in every model, monitor and evaluate is key. So the next steps of Best MED going to be to test the model, and this will be also described in a few minutes. And then we will evaluate after the testing phase the feasibility of the model, and we hope by the end of the project, so during work package 6, to propose this refined MEDES and CPAT model that could be proposed as a standard at international level. And this is just to focus the attention on the key or the value added of our model. So we think it's a replicable tool in the Mediterranean, since it's going to be useful for any kind of cultural route or path, so certified or not. And we're addressing the key challenge, which is having monitoring tools to assess the actual and potential impacts of routes, particularly in rural and less known areas. We're providing a common methodology with a set of common criteria, but also flexible selection of indicators to suit the needs and the possibilities of different destinations, of different routes. And finally, we think it would be a very useful tool to propose to the European Institute of Cultural Routes, which actually is an associated partner of Best Med, as an instrument for cultural routes to comply with the 3-year evaluation that they have to do in order to renew their certification. So that would be all for me. Thank you very much, and I'm available if later on there are questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Maya?
Hello from Slovenia, University of Maribor. My name is Maja Turašek. I'm an associate professor here and the lead coordinator on the Slovene side of the Best Med project. Our role is actually to put all of this that we have heard now, the model and the coordination of observatories, into a useful online tool. And let me share the screen. Second. Can you see it? Is the screen
Yes,
sharing?
we can. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
Maya. Yes.
So I was thinking, in my case, I don't have to do PowerPoint because I will be showing the platform itself. So the platform that we're building is pulling data out of resources. On the one hand, it's building from the Meet2Med Plus project, where you could see this would be the data that's put in there if you're a destination. So you have the option of putting all this data in terms of percentage of the area of destination with sustainable tourism action plan, etc. So that would be one source. The other big pillar of this project of at the platform is, I think it's best if I just show you how it looks like. For example, you select a destination, you go and select the destination on the map, and then we pull the data in from the Meet2Med project. So for example, there's a description of the destination and the population, total area, but our part for now has been also adding automized option for pulling the data from Eurostat. So you would still get here the arrivals at, just a second, arrivals at tourist accommodation, or you could select same-day visits. For example, we could see what was happening in the past years, or employed persons in tourism, how this was changing. And we could do this for every destination that's in Eurostat on the regional level. Some data, you don't get it on the regional, then it's national level. For example, I think it's this one. So for the whole Italy, in this case, primarily this part serves that whenever you're checking a destination and trying to think of policies and models, you first embed, you first have this overview of embedment of the Eurostat data. And then as a user, for example, you could click here and you would get on the Meet2Med platform and you could get more information on that specific destination itself. So our added value here was connecting it to Eurostat, but also to specifically to include in all of this the cultural roots. So, and here, if you would be logging in, for example, let's pretend I'm logging in now and it's throwing me here. You have an option of selecting first. I'll just go back, it's going to be easier to show. So you put in, for example, European Cemeteries route. That's one of the free routes that we have on the pilot testing in Slovenia. There's a description of the route. You select, in this case, it's a thematic route, and you select a couple of captions, and then you also draw the route on the map. But primarily, and you go next. Just a second, the Zoom is in my way. Okay, then you select and start assessment. And in the start assessment option, all of the criteria for the model. So it's this is the longest version of the model at the moment. It's put in the option of online fulfillment. So for example, you have the management structure, and the cultural route managers have the option of filling this very quickly, very easily out. It has a legal entity, yes, no, and you click that out. And then if you have some concerning founding documents that you want to share, you put them in, etc. Then you have stakeholder involvement. They have public sector, private sector, civil society, etc. involved. And all of this is then on these 4 dimensions of the model. Sustainable management, economic sustainability, sociocultural sustainability, and environmental sustainability. After all of this is filled out, we're still in the process within the model of deciding what are the core indicators. So I think the number right now, Maria Laura, is 53, right? So that's a bit too much to pull back into this first map. But what we want to do is later select just a couple of core indicators and add them to this map so that you're at the same time, you can select a destination, or you can select the whole cultural route and also see how the cultural route as a whole, as a path or as a combination of dots, has been evaluated on the other side. And this would be it first, like really gist of it, because if you go more in depth, I think it's
and we're running out of time. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm just gonna stop sharing, I think, and I'm here. Yeah, here.
Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please visit our platform. You have the link in the chat. From SmartMed, I would like to introduce again Ksenia Silva, and as you know, she's the head of department for programming, strategic planning, and program evaluation for the Ministry of Tourism and Sport for the Republic of Croatia. And with her, it will be Ivana Novoselec, an external expert from the consulting firm Upsilon, who will present the SmartMed tourism business model.
Hello, everyone, once again. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So in this SmartMed project, my role is a communication officer, and today I will shortly introduce to you, for all of you who still haven't got familiar with the SmartMed project, what are our results that we want to achieve, what is our partnership, and the main activities and the deliverables that we prepared so far. That will be short introduction into our main topic today, smart tourism business model, which will be presented by our external expert from Upsilon, Mrs. Ivana Novoselec. At the very beginning, I would like to use this opportunity also to thank our project managers, Francesca and Nicholas, who are supporting us and steering us in this challenging implementation process of these 2 projects. So let's start. The results that we expect to achieve through the SmartMed project is the establishment of Mediterranean tourism cooperation as a common platform for joint action through continuous networking and knowledge sharing among our key stakeholders. Then capacities of all involved stakeholders will be strengthened by networking events and trainings, by design and delivery of multi-stakeholders pilot initiatives, and as the last component, we would like to reinforce the competitiveness of MED destinations through the development and testing of a transferable and sustainable smart tourism model, which will ensure a strategic solution to MED region tourism challenges. So our partnership is very rich and diverse. We have 3 ministries from the national level: the Ministry of Tourism from Croatia, the Ministry of Tourism from Greece, and the Ministry of Economical Development from Montenegro, where their tourism sector is recently settled in the latest institutional setup. Then we have the regional level partners, Occitanie region, then Puglia region, and autonomous region of Aosta Valley from Italy. Then there is Area Metropolitana de Barcelona, our Spanish partner, and then we have University of Primorska from Slovenia. After that, we have also from the national level 2 very significant partners, Turismo de Portugal and Atout France. Then on the regional level, the Tourist Board of Herzegovina, Neretva Canton, and Croatian Chamber of Economy, our county chamber from Rijeka. And last but not the least, there is our overall partner conference, of Peripheral Maritime Regions, CPMR, who is helping us generously and giving its best in both projects, and trying to balance and combine the best of these 2 projects. What we have achieved so far through the implementation of the SMARTMED project, first of all, it is the state-of-the-art analysis of med skills and tourism competitiveness, which was developed based on a common methodology, and is giving us an overview of existing policies, strategies, and regulatory frameworks in the Mediterranean countries, with the aim of identifying main challenges and potentials in developing business model for smart tourism, which is one of the key deliveries of the project. Then we have a report on key areas for the development of tourism competitiveness and innovation. This report is prepared as a result of key stakeholder analysis, and is consisting of data gathered in cooperation with 8 project partners, each having delivered data and conclusions relating to their territories in the Mediterranean, and each organizing either empowerment events or service between the stakeholders in tourism. Of course, like everyone else, we had to be flexible and adapt according to the situation. So not all of our partners were able to organize empowerment events due to the current situation. So we combined it with a service. And just to wrap it up shortly regarding this studying work package, which we are currently finishing, the other important things that we have undertaken is the identification of stakeholders for the implementation of pilot initiatives. Then we developed the criteria and typologies for pilot initiatives. Afterwards, we also prepared the manual for potential pilot initiatives and prepared the key performance indicators and monitoring system, which will be presented to you by Ivana together with the smart tourism business model. So that's basically it from my side. And our next steps and next activities will be also later in detail introduced to you by my colleague Zrinka, who will who will be more concrete relating to the testing phase in work package number 4. Thank you all for your attention.
Ivana, you have to unmute yourself. Yes. Okay, great.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. I will try to briefly introduce you to the smart tourism business model that we have developed through this studying package. We have tried to do as much as possible a form of a strategic document in which we have tried to reach a common vision between all of the partners who were participating in the project of what exactly smart tourism in the Mediterranean meant for all of us, and then divided the model according to the specific thematic development objectives, as well as specific measures that will serve as a guideline to the project partners in the future in terms of the implementation of the pilot projects, as well as to anybody or any of the stakeholders who aim at developing smart tourism initiatives and who will, from the descriptions of the measures, see what a typical smart tourism measure according to our project consortium is. So the vision is very diverse. It says that the tourism in the Mediterranean basin should be offering a high quality of competitive products and services to all its visitors all year round, while caring for the environment and rational use of resources, as well as the economic, social, and cultural needs of the local population. It is competitive due to its smart use of technologies, innovative approach to products and services, highly skilled labor force, and inclusive approach to planning and development. So as you can see, and then this is reflected in our specific development objectives, we have considered sustainability in terms of the rational use and reuse of resources as one of the cornerstones of the vision of the tourism business of the smart tourism in the Mediterranean. Another aspect that we have considered important is the inclusive tourism, which is both integrating different types of and catering for different types of visitors, as well as involving the local community, its needs and its potentials in its development. Then, of course, the competitive, skillful tourism all year round basically integrates two topics that we considered very important. One is that we need to develop a labor base of a labor market that can support the development of smart tourism, as well as to diversify the forms of tourism so that it can be defocused from the from the seasonality of only the summertime season to all year round offer. And then finally, the first thing that actually pops up in everybody's mind when they think of smart tourism, and that's the tourism that integrates technology and encourages innovation. The choice of the topics came from a very extensive analysis and polling of the project partners. So we think that we have managed to capture the key areas in which we all think that smart tourism should be developing in the Mediterranean. Then we have continued about thinking about what measures and what type of projects basically we would wish to see and we need to see developing in our Mediterranean basin in order to support such objectives. And we have then organized measures not according to specific objectives, but according to types of actions. So each type of the measure or each type of the action can support each of the specific development objectives. And these are the development of the institutions that can support such model. These are smart tourism hubs. I will tell you a little bit about them later. Then platforms for cooperation, which refer to different forms of cooperation, either institutionally or in terms of the technology. So both the institutional cooperation as well as IT platforms that serve such institutional cooperation. Something that we have called processes, which basically incorporates different levels of legal, administrative, strategic, and evaluation and monitoring tools that need to be streamlined if we are to follow a same type of model that we want to promote across the Mediterranean. And then finally, communication, which considers the communication between the stakeholders in the project partnership, as well as towards the wider audience, which is one of our ultimate goals, to disseminate the model across the Mediterranean to all different kinds of stakeholders. So as you can see, the sustainable tourism basically consists of resource efficiency, preservation of natural and cultural heritage, which rated very highly in all of our analysis as one of the very important aspects of tourism development. And this also fits into what the outputs of the other projects were. Then the resilience to climate change, health and safety threats that were that are a set of topics that rate very highly, especially recently with the COVID crisis. Then the second development objective, the closeness to citizens, is very much focused on the encouragement of local capacities, of involvement of different local stakeholders through different forms of networks into the planning and implementation and the economic benefits of the tourism. And then, of course, on the other side of the inclusiveness, the tourism products and infrastructure that can accommodate different kinds of visitors. So not only the provision of the tourism services should be inclusive, but also the tourism services themselves. This is then divided between the products and infrastructures on one side, and then the forms of communication and services on the other hand. In terms of the competitive and skillful tourism all year round, as you can see, the main focus was the provision of skills and education of the labor force that can support different types of tourism, the strengthening of entrepreneurial skills for development of different aspects of tourism, which is one of the weak spots that most of the partners found in their respective countries. And it seems to be a typical Mediterranean problem that the sort of entrepreneurial spirit that we are looking at Northern European countries seems to be lacking in our countries, regardless of the rich resources that we have in terms of tourism. So this is something that everybody thinks should be one of the strong points of whichever model we follow. And then, of course, the general entrepreneurial culture in terms of in relation to tourism. Finally, what I say is what I typically call what is a typical smart tourism agenda. This is the use of IT and business intelligence in tourism, both in planning and communicating the tourism offer, as well as monitoring and evaluating and using big data to then further feed into the planning of tourism. The encouragement of innovation culture, especially in relation to tourism, and then the concept of smart destinations that are to bring together the smart approach to tourism planning with smart forms of tourism services and communication with visitors. I will just briefly now say, if I have enough time, Eva, something about smart tourism hubs as our first measure.
You have 1 minute.
Okay, I will just say that this is probably the cornerstone of the model. We are, by description of the smart tourism hubs, giving an instruction both to our pilot initiatives as well as to whoever wants to follow our model on how best to create institutions that can support development of smart tourism and that are support to bring together the sort of a quadruple helix of research and training institutions, local government, DMOs and different other tourism stakeholders, as well as the communities that are participating in tourism. And these are supposed to be developed through our S pilots, and in the future develop a network of such institutions that can then provide and ensure sustainability of the model. Briefly, as I said, we also provide and plan to develop platforms of communication supported through IT platforms, but not necessarily consisting only of the IT solutions. The processes that need to be streamlined in the terms of regulatory framework, strategic framework, and monitoring and evaluation framework. And finally, different forms of communication to communicate the model to all the stakeholders that might not have been involved in the project itself. Finally, I will close the presentation with a brief introduction to our monitoring and evaluation system. We have developed a system that follows our own outcome indicators that will support us in following the outcome of the model on a very high level of looking at the socioeconomic indicators that should show whether we have indeed developed a smart tourism and which impacts we expect to have from the smart tourism. And then a more direct and less ambitious set of output indicators that should measure what each of the countries is to establish and do in the period of 5 years to see whether we have really moved on in terms of the output indicators. And finally, outcome indicators that measure the level of achievement, where they are somewhere in between, and measure the level of achievement and contribution of our actions towards the impact that we expect to have. Okay, this was in a brief our model. We were quite ambitious, so it's not easy to introduce it briefly, but I'm here for any further questions if you should have any. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ivan, and thank you, Ksenia. I would just like a quick reminder, if you have any questions for our speakers, please go to our platform and post the questions there, or use the Slido link directly. I'm putting it in the chat once again, so you post your questions there, and we'll have a short Q&A at the end where you can also speak and talk and put your questions there. Next, I would like to present SmartMed and BestMed connects 10 countries, 22 partners, and in 33 months, we'll conduct programs to empower tourism sustainability, tourism actors, and develop and implement sustainable tourism models to improve different aspects of integrated tourism planning in the Mediterranean. I would like to introduce today from Portugal, Claudia Ribeiro de Almeida, a professor of tourism course director from the University of Algarve, and our own Zrinka Đurđević, expert advisor, Department for Programming, Strategic Planning, and Program Evaluation, who will present the outline of testing phase, the introduction of upcoming WP4 implementation phase of models. Ladies, take it away.
Hello, do you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, good morning, everybody. I would like to thank you the invitation to be here today and congratulate the organization, because I believe that this is a very important joint seminar to share thoughts and methodologies between two Interact programs, BestMed and SmartMed. So I'm here today as the lead coordinator of BestMed by University of the Algarve. We are responsible for work package 4 testing. And here today, we are going to talk just a little bit about what we are doing and what are the next phases of this working package 4. So we came from working package 3 that Erica and Maria Laura just presented about the BestMeds, and we just finished the policy learning seminars, and we are starting now the work package 4 with some activities. So 2020 and 2021 is a pandemic years. So COVID affected us as a project, as you can imagine, and mainly the working package 4, because we are the testing phase and we have a lot of things as field trips and things that we need to do in the field, and sometimes it's not very easy because we cannot move from one town to the other town, and we cannot do the things as we used to do in the previous years. So in this working package 4, we have the testing phase, and the testing phase are based in several meetings and field trips to evaluate, recreate, and above all, to test the cultural roots. So due to COVID, some of the activities need to be reorganized that allow all partners to develop the works and collect information that is needed in a different way that we imagine on the first days of the project. But at the end, this needs to be reorganized in order to have all the data collected and all the things tested as we need to do it. So as Maria Laura told, we have several pilot areas. So in each country, we have a cultural route that it was chosen by each of the partners. In Portugal, we have Humayad route, which is an important route also here in Portugal and here in the Algarve. The Humayad route is a route that is in all over the Algarve, so it's a big route. And we are going to test just a little part of the route as all of the partners from Best Med. So in the testing phase, what we are going to do, we are going to go through the 3 different phases. We are going to start now with the focus groups, and in order to implement the common MED and SNC PASS model that Maria Laura just presented. And this focus group is going to be a meeting with sectorial stakeholders and regional and local development association. And the main objectives are to improve the cultural route and collect feedback. And this is very important, to collect feedback from stakeholders and local community regarding the population in interior areas, tourism flows, interior vessels, coastline, urban areas, and seasonality mitigation. One of the main objectives of Best Med is bring to action the cultural routes that bring people from the littoral areas to more interior areas, and that's why the question of seasonality and also the population in interior areas are so important here in this type of discussions. So then each partner from each focus group need to bring at least 5 actions to be negotiated at the end of the project on the memorandum of understanding that is going to be implemented in working package 6. On the second phase, we are going to test the set of indicators. We are going to organize a one-day living lab to evaluate innovative elements. At this point, all the partners have the route, have more or less tested with some of the persons that participate in the focus group, deal with that, and we are going now to put in action some of the field trip activities. So in this one-day living lab, this is going to be very important because we are going to have the participation of some persons that deal in the field with some of the problems of this type of routes, and with them we are going to see what type of elements we can add to the route in order to be more innovative and more sustainable, because at the end of the day this is the main focus of the cultural routes. We are going to apply here a questionnaire to the participants in order to see what they think about the route, what we can improve, we can develop more in order to have a better cultural route. The third phase, which is going to be the last one, is going to be of course, it's going to be the wow day, which is the educational trip. So we are going to organize a FEM trip with several stakeholders in order to pre-test the chosen route. So we are going to do with them the whole in order to see if all the things that we put in the package are okay or not, in order to have their feedback, because at the end of the project probably this cultural route could be, or it's going to be like a new excursion or a new product that is going to be sold to tourists. So this need to be in a good shape, need to be very well organized, and all the things need to be together to have the things correct at the end of the project. Also, in this phase, we are going to take some time for video and photos of the route area because we need to spread the word in social media. We need to do some brochures or other type of things that we need to use for promote the cultural route. The last phase of testing, the work package for testing, is going to be the testing seminar with all associated, although also MED Sustainable Tourism Community members and Council of Europe. We believe that in September, probably, we could have this seminar here in the Algarve, in Portugal, in the south of Portugal, which is a tourism destination. I believe that in September, some of us are more free than we are today, so probably we can have here this seminar. So in this seminar is going to be important because all the partners are going to be together for the first time in presence since January 2020. So I think it could be a very important date for us in the project because all of us need only to meet in Zoom sessions. So it's not so good as it used to be in the previous seminars. So that's me. That's all for me. If you have any question, I'm available to answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Zrinka? You have to.
Hello, I'm going to start screen sharing right now. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay, so hello everyone. On behalf of the Ministry of Tourism and Sports from Croatia. So after we saw all of the activities we have done in the working package 3, we are now that we're done with the goal of gathering information and developing the framework. We are actually right now at the beginning of our testing phase, namely the working package 4. Working package 4 is scheduled to start in April, that is this month, and in February of 2022. I will give you a brief overview of activities in the working package 4. More specifically, in the second half of the 2021, the model will be tested through pilot activities, followed by report and evaluation. And before that, in the preparation and implementation of our pilot activities, we are going to hold stakeholder capacity building events for the development of smart tourism initiatives. And we are still waiting to see if they are going to be in person or online, depending on the situation with COVID-19 pandemic. Also, one of the more important points of the working package 4, learning materials for these events will also be developed until September 2021 and will be available afterwards on national languages on e-learning platform, which is main deliverable of the working package 5 transferring, which is due in 2022. We have here main activities in the working package 4, and they can be divided in 3 groups. Design of pilot projects, as you can see, which is a participative inclusive process and serves also as a tool for the dissemination of the SMART model. We have stakeholder capacity building for delivery of pilot projects, designed on the needs of the stakeholders and also will be evaluated afterwards. And we also, the third group is delivery and evaluation of pilot projects. I'm going to briefly introduce all of these groups now. The first group, design of pilot projects. This design, like I said, is participative. It is envisioned for it to be participative and inclusive. And that will happen through networking events for stakeholders, which will be organized to disseminate the model, create awareness of the concept, and develop stakeholders' capacities to understand and deliver the business model. And these events should also serve to identify potential pilot initiatives, which will be collected in a report and assessed by project partners to find initiatives most suited for implementation. And that will also be all collected in a deliverable called pipeline of pilot projects. And all of these pilot projects will be created in line with the criteria for pilots established in the Working Package 3 that we saw earlier. The second group, stakeholder capacity building for delivery of pilots. Like I said, trainings will be designed based on the needs. And those needs should be identified in the stakeholder training needs analysis. And also as a base for this training needs analysis, we have the analysis of med tourism skills and competitiveness that you heard before in the Working Package 3, and also we have report on key areas for the development of tourism competitiveness and innovation that you also heard about in the Working Package 3. And afterwards, educations will be evaluated by participants and trainers through the training report, which is also an important point, because all of these training materials will be uploaded on the e-learning platform, which will be developed in the Working Package 5, will be translated in national languages, and will serve to all other stakeholders in the tourism sector after the end of the project. It will be an open platform. For the third group, delivery and evaluation of pilot projects, the process that we envisioned for this group is that implementation will be monitored to identify problems in implementation and recognize good practices. Also, evaluation report will be made and will have recommendations for improvements to pilots and the model itself. And also, all of the pilots will be assessed for transferability for implementation on different levels of governance and countries. So why is all of this so important? I will show you in this slide. The entire process is flexible with deliveries that feed into each other, like design of pilot initiatives, which is connected to capacity building, which is connected to implementation and evaluation. And all of them from the Working Package 4 are connected to deliverable, which is called transferable model for Med region smart tourism initiatives, which will be made in the Working Package 5. And all of these deliverables feed into each other and influence each other retroactively in order to improve them. And the process is informed by partners' needs and situations encountered on the ground. And all of this has an end goal to get the best idea for what suits Med region, for what best suits the Med region, and can be implemented in the region after the end of the project by other stakeholders in the tourism sector. The same rule applies actually to the entire planning of the project. And here you can see the relationship between the working packages, with Working Packages 3, 4, and 5 influencing each other in the same way as shown with before with the deliverables, and with the Working Package 6 capitalizing, which will capitalize all the results through its own deliverables, which are capitalization strategy and roadmap, report on innovation hubs, final advocacy event, which will be held at the end of the project in May or June 2022, if we will have the opportunity to organize it live. There is also envisioned for us to sign a memorandum of understanding for a commitment to implement the SMART model. And also another deliverable is report and recommendations for post-2020 Interreg Med projects. So I hope this was informative enough for you, and I hope we will be able to successfully implement all of the activities that we envisioned in the Working Package 4. So thank you everyone for participating, and if you have any questions, we are here to answer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zrinka, and thank you, Claudia, for this interesting presentation. Now we came to our Q&A part of our session 1 today here. There are a few interesting questions in Slido that I'm going to read to you right now, and then we'll take a 15-minute break and continue with session 2. The first question is for Ivana Novoselec, if you can hear us. The question is, which kind of common actions have been set to reinforce competitiveness and the implementation of the SMARTMED project?
Okay. Should I respond?
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Well, competitiveness is an overall objective that we have in our SMARTMED project. So we haven't targeted it in the sense that we haven't called or named one of the objectives competitiveness, but it basically comes and all of the other specific objectives are aimed at reaching the competitiveness. In terms of the measures and activities that we foresee in the model, I haven't had enough time, so I haven't gone into details, but for instance, the hubs that we were mentioned or the platforms that we have mentioned should be aimed at specific topics. And topics such as, for instance, new services and products in tourism, or increasing the educating the labor force in tourism in some specific areas that should make tourism more competitiveness, or any other topics that are aimed at basically raising the competitiveness. So if we went into a more detail, then I would, or if you look at our business model, then you can see that basically all the activities are such that we provide a framework, and then participants, the participating regions or countries or universities will propose which of the topics that we offered they should tackle, and all of the topics are basically such that they should contribute to raise competitiveness of the tourism. Hope I have answered the question.
Thank you, Ivana. Ivana, thank you. If I may just add, of course, we will be more concrete with the implementation of our pilot initiatives. So we hope that we will have some concrete results that will be later transferable and implemented by other interested stakeholders, whether on regional or local level. As you know, we will test some of the measures, not the model itself as a whole, but its specific measures will be tested through our pilot initiatives, and then we will have some more concrete results, and we'll be able to see in practice how it is contributing to the competitiveness.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ivana. Thank you, Ksenia. We have another question for Erika. Can you hear us? You're here? Okay. The question is, do you foresee new cultural routes to deal with specific topics, such as ceramics or wellness?
Well, yes, the idea itself of cultural roots was defined by the Cultural Roots program of the Council of Europe, and how it was explained also from Maria Laura Gasparini. The model of cultural roots can regard geographical roots, historical pilgrimage routes such as Francigena, but a main aim of the program is also to consider thematic routes. So not necessarily a linear route or a path you can go on walking, but also a network of places such as cemeteries, or yes, why not, as long as there is a strong motivation. I think there is already a thermal cultural roots based on thermal areas, thermal places, which is again is a network of spots. And so yes, sure, why not?
Wonderful, thank you so much. we have another question, which is an open-ended question. Maybe Erika or Maya could also respond. And the question is, how can other regions that are not involved in the project join the platform or use the MED and S&C path model?
Well, yeah, maybe I can give a short answer also on this, because, obviously in this moment, the model is still in a beta version. But as a MitoMed Plus platform, when it will be definitive, it will be shared and be public, probably as in MitoMed Plus. The destination, the DMO destination managers, which are interested in adding their destination in the platform, will have to log in. So we'll have to create their account for the platform, and then it will be possible to add the data and to consult every detail of the platform, also of other destinations, to be able to benchmark with other destinations. I don't know if Maya wants to add something.
Maya?
Yep. Yes. Yeah. I would. Am I online? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can. Yes.
So yes, thank you for the question. At the moment, the MitoMed Plus platform is already up and running. So we would be very happy to have more destinations to join it. I'm going to share my screen again just to show it, and I'm going to put the link in there. This is the MitoMed Plus platform as it is. And here, if you're a destination, you can log in and put in and use all of the questions about the indicators, and then use it on that side. And after that is filled in, then it goes to the Best Med platform that I've been showing before, where it combines with the Eurostat data. But the Best Med platform is not public yet. As soon as it will be, I hope we're gonna do a big public bang and inform everyone that it's out there, up and running, and already available to use. While MitoMed is already. So if you're a destination and not a cultural route, this part will already be very useful. I'm just gonna give the link. Yeah.
Wonderful. We have the same question came in the chat from Albania, so I hope that answers all of your questions.
Okay, I'm very happy to hear these questions. Yes. So it means
great.
There's interest for it.
If you can put the link in the chat, that would be great.
Well, I just need to stop sharing. A second.
Yes, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you so much for the answers. There was a raised hand by Miss Alina here. She now lowered your hand. Do you want to ask your question? Now you can unmute yourself. Miss Alina, if you would like to do it, you can do it now. Okay, well, while we wait, if she decides to join us, now we came to our 15-minute break. I would just like to remind you to go to our platform where we have a new exciting quiz coming up. And all of the information you can find on our website, on our platform, that if you go to the lower end, you'll see flags from all 10 countries, partner countries, that open up a new tab with interesting and fun facts of each country. And you will be able to finish the quiz, and we have an exciting reward for you, which will be sent to you by mail. We have a 15-minute break. Also, during the 15 minutes, we are offering you a graphic recording session that you can find access to also on our platform. And right next down from the agenda, you have access to it. So please check out Nevin, and he's there waiting for you. And we'll see you in 15 minutes. Thank you very much.